this is what it looks like today. Well, it's 20 degrees out, a little bit of snow, and I really don't have a lot of time, but I've kind of committed myself to getting some work done for a fella on the south end of my place. And as I was driving up this morning, a couple things were crossing my mind. One is I've been trying to put together a video on, well, one of the aftermarket saws I've been trying to work my way through. And I get these questions frequently, you know, not just me, but most people in the saw business about what saw would you pick? Right alongside of, you know, there's these aftermarket saws. Are they any good? Would you pick one of those? And I guess the way I would frame the answer is more of a action speaks louder than words versus me to give some long lecture. So what I'm going to do is stop the truck and open up the back and pull some saws out, lay them on the tailgate. And based on your experience, or based on you watching my videos, if I had to pick one or two of those saws, which ones would you pick? You know? And if somebody asks you about the viability of aftermarket saws, and the answer is different if you have a truck full of saws and you have time to play, versus you really don't have time to play, you really don't have money to spend on toys, you got to get something done. Me, stop and pull the saws out, and then I'll roll right into the video of yesterday's experience, which pretty much encapsulates my experience of the last probably 10-15 years on both aftermarket stuff and old pro saws. So I have these, which all have been on the channel now for quite some time. Well, the first three have. The last one's pretty much new. And it's a foray into vintage saws, as this one on the end is. It's a John Thread 70E. And this is a John Thread 2171 built, all OEM, with a 51.4 millimeter 372 XPW top end. And this is a aftermarket saw that I've been trying to debug. I've had it for a couple of years now. Not everybody has a truck full of saws, and there's two more in there. And that's it. I know it's going to do that every time. A big old nasty tree here needs to come down. The old ash tree makes you nervous, so going to have to do a fair amount of prep work in order to get in there, and I'm going to try to send it. That's a big tree. Take off some of this stuff in here and take off some of that work in there and see if I can't get it to go out, you know, where I'm pointing the camera. Then I have another one, and another one, and another one. cut a tree down today and ruined this chain. Got right into some barbed wire pretty quick. But since daylight was going pretty quickly, not a good reason, but I need to get the tree down. Doing it for somebody else. They needed it down, or they wanted it down today. So I obliged, and the process pretty much ruined this chain. I think I could probably fix up this chain, I suppose. A lot of the teeth are fine. A lot of them are rolled over. But they're not totally destroyed. Now I intended to do the job with my newly modified Husqvarna 77 modified with this. So I did what they said, and I put a knot in there and put it in there. Second pull out, pulled it right off the string, and the string zapped into the pull start. So now I got to pull that thing apart. Alright, what's the old fart doing now? Well, let me see. Been trying to debug this G366 right here. And I had gotten this, I don't know, back in 2018. And my first impression was the fit and finish was pretty nice. It was a nice looking little saw. Right until the pull start broke. And then I had to get another pull start. Did that. And then it took me a year or so before I got motivated to try it again, and then finally this year I started putting some time on this saw, and it has some fuel starvation issues, so I decided to just start the process of trying to figure out why this saw doesn't run the way it should. I mean, everything looks nice on it, right? The bits and pieces, the cylinder and stuff like that all look pretty good. It should run. Put a nice bar on it. I'm trying to use up these Dumara based bars because their tips are a little bit weak. Good chain, that's a ELX chain. And what I did was I got an OEM tank vent because it had symptoms like a tank vent. And that's what we're going to try today is put a tank of gas through it. I have a big tree behind me that needs to be broke down. And we're going to see if that tank vent fixed its problem. Because if it did, this is actually a pretty cool saw. It really is. So let's see if we can get this one started first. thing that old Husky is not lacking for is horsepower. That is for sure. Let me see if I can run some with this. That Husky leaves my hands numb after a little while. It vibrates. Well, there you go. Let me see if I run out of gas, but I don't think so. No, it's got gas. So yet again, this is that G366 that just shuts off. Now it could be as simple as a spark plug, I don't know. But obviously it's not going to let me do any work with it today. So that's strike one. I guess it's strike two. So we'll continue our debug process on this to see what the problem is. I might just change the spark plug out today and see what happens. That's frustrating. Well, I'm going to continue with this saw right here. And let me see if I can get it restarted. I filled it up with fuel and oil. He used probably a quarter tank, so I just really topped it off, maybe a half. I had a little time on it before, so it may not be fuel efficient, but the one thing I can tell you, it's going to run out of gas about the same time I do because of how much it vibrates. It's a lunk of steel here, well, aluminum. It does vibrate, but I'll tell you what, it makes good power. This thing is not lacking in horsepower. See if it'll start.
Well, in this case, the saw did not run out of gas. I did. I need to take a little break. You know, it's hard for me to walk in that slippery stuff in there. But that saw works pretty good. With these gloves on, the vibration is not nearly as bad. And I think the point here is that's an old saw that really hasn't gone through its maintenance. You know, it probably has bad diaphragms and fuel lines and stuff like that. But look what I just did with that saw. I think I'm gonna go get some food and put a spark plug in that blue thing and see if I can't make it run a little bit better. That was ugly, but we got it down. I only dinged one chain into the rocks down here. Tried to cut that rock, but that tree's off there into the brush. Not sure anybody's going to go for it though. It's kind of rotted. Maybe enough for today. I threw a chain off the old 80. It was a garbage chain anyway. And I dinged one of these up, but I didn't ding it up bad. So I'll go back to the shop and file on these for a little bit. And a little bit of firewood. I got a bunch more in here to cut out. This cherry right here needs to go. You know, maybe we'll do that one next. That's a couple of feet across at the bottom. So I'll take it off in chunks. One going one way and one going the other. This is my world, guys. Not logging most of the time, this. Well, anyway, after that series of videos documenting life experience, maybe you can answer your own question about you got to buy a saw or you got to pick a saw. It's a cold day, you got a tractor, you only can put one or two in the bucket. Which ones would you pick?